All right, welcome back to this week's neutral strategy. So far, not bad, not bad. I'm seeing some. Let me go over to my YouTube page. Remember, guys, I brought this back to get some love, see how many people are liking this strategy. From what can see, I know that lots of people like it, but at the same time, I'm not seeing a ton of. Let me just kind of come in here and take a look at some of the analytics of this video. And really, at the end of the day, how many people are paying attention, because this takes a little bit of time. I mean, last couple weeks were pretty easy. Last week, I spent a little bit more time on it. I think it was 30 plus minutes to come up with this awesome plan that we're going to talk about here in a second. But last week, neutral strategy 9 September. All right, I'm looking across here. We had 171 views and 14 likes. I'm going to tell you right now, this will be the last time that I'm sharing this video. If 171 views, 14 likes, that's that's less than 10%. All right, and 3 comments. So pretty poor participation from that. And yes, likes do matter on the YouTube page because at the end of the day, they're my currency of how well I'm doing. And it's taking time for me to do this. So once again, if I can't get more involvement than that, this is not something I have to do, then I just kind of keep it to myself and move forward. All right. That way that I can enjoy a little bit more time on my Sundays. All right. So here we go. Let's get started. So in saying that, please just stop right now and like the video if you're watching this. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So let's move on. So how did we do this week? Let's talk about it. SPY, we'll start there. Well, we had the big dip, but if you notice, we came right into the inside and up formation. We did not close underneath the neutral strategy. Matter of fact, we we actually closed here on Monday. So let's just say that you took the trade based off of this, and just like Melissa and I teach, if you wait for the candles to close underneath the level before getting stopped out, you actually did really, really well. But let me go ahead and give you the other scenario. What if you did get stopped out? That's okay. How about when we went back above here? Did you take the trade here? Either way, we resulted to the upside. One, two, three. We hit all 3 targets and even more. And then we ended up on the week on a trendy downturn arrow on the 4 hour, but I am looking for support down here. We'll get to that here in a minute. On the QQQ, this one, absolutely. I wish that, this chart would have reflected more like the Qs. The Qs acted very well, gave you the long entry on the close above here. Yes, it pulled back, but again, no close underneath here, and boom. All right, all the way to the upside. So we ended up hitting all 3 targets and then almost ended up hitting the trendy edge. Let's go ahead and start over here. I can tell you right off the bat, we are going to create a um, new drawing. So let's go to drawings, create, let's say, let's create drawing set. Let's just name it 915 24. All right, and then we're going to right click over here. We're going to do the same thing, drawings, create drawing set, and it's going to be 915 24, just like that. All right. Now, since we're on the 4 hour, let's just take a look at it and then we'll go higher time frame here in a second. Let's see what we're working with. One, we got the trendy edge. We're going to go ahead and identify that. We're not going to be a D for a T. We're just going to kind of be right around that area. And then I want to look over and see if we have any more pivots and or inside and down formations. Watch my crosshairs. So always be looking at the left, even though my pencil is right here. I want you to look to the left why I mark things. So right before that top, okay, and then I'm going to come up here and right before that top, I'm going to click there, okay? Now the next thing is I'm kind of OCD. See how I already know where the weekly edge is going to start? This is where my white line should be in line with that yellow. So when I do this, I kind of get an idea where I want to be because that's going to be where price opens up. So I need to move these over just a tad. And it's okay. I mean, if the numbers change just a tad, we're okay with that. And then 484, 43 or so. right there. All right, so we got these levels to the upside, and then let's go down here. Well, let's go over to the SPY. Okay, we don't have any monthly edge above us, but we do have a high. We're going to go ahead and put that high right up here. It's about 564 or so. And that leaves me with no targets, no more targets to the upside. And then over here on the Qs, I'm going to use this week's top edge right there. And then I want to see, do we have inside nut formation? We do. So I'm just going to identify that really quick. Okay, make that green, just like that. All right. And I'm going to keep working down. I'm asking myself, do we have imbalance here? I mean, those are just some really big candles. Um, we have these edges to the downside, which are about right here. And then we have this low. Okay, so we're going to put that on there. And same thing over here. Now let's look to the downside. We have a trendy edge. We're going to use that. And then we have another trendy edge. Unlike the QQQ, who still has to get up here, we have surpassed these edges. A little bit different. Okay. And so we have it's a little bit easier to find the targets to the downside by using the edges. Now we do have inside and up formations right here on the 4 hour. So I'm going to go like this. Okay, and I'm going to create a little green box. Now these are all just parameters, kind of give me the quick and easy, if you will, where levels are. So just like that. Go ahead and identify these. Oops. Go just above it, right there, and just below it. We're going to do the same thing over here, just like that. Okay. And all right. So we got the 4 hour out of the way. But we also have this beautiful inside and up here. So I'm gonna come all the way down here. All right. Again, watch my lines. I'm right above the inside and up formation right there. Okay. And now let's go from a 4 hour into the daily. All right. And basically what we're doing is we're creating a different picture when we do this with the time frames. Okay. Now this is not going to change much to the upside. However, I do need extension targets. Now, if you watch the broad market analysis, which I wish, I hope you did, right? I wish you did too. A lot of you do. I'm looking for extension targets. We're going to use the last several days. Okay, and I'm going to use this Fibonacci extension, and I'm going to come up to the high, it's about right there, and I'm going to double click. Okay, and this is going to give me some more targets to the upside. Okay, right there. And let's just go to 577 as well. I'm going to use the 50. Okay, and I'm going to take this off. All right, and now here on the daily, I actually get a better view of the inside and up formation. All right, so here's a bigger inside and up right there. And that's just in case this week's Fed rate decision, I don't know, causes some kind of craziness. We want to know where these levels are. Okay, so we're going to go like that. And I promise you, this is all going to get cleaned up here in a few minutes. All right, and then over here on the daily, same thing. This is that really nice level here. Okay, pull this in a little bit. Now, if you remember, several weeks ago, we kind of had the same thing where we had two zones, and we ended up coming all the way down to the bigger zone. So these are important. I'm going to tighten this one up on the SPY really quick. Okay, I'm going to go underneath to the body right there. I'm going to tighten this up. I'm going to use the wick on this candle, that one. All right, there's that. Okay, and let me look at these targets. That's in line with the inside and down. The 481's kind of close. I want to move this up to that pivot. I mean, this is a really important pivot because if we get past that, that's a very bullish sign, and we'll probably come up here and fill the gap at some point. Not saying this week, but I do want that pivot on there. Now let's go ahead and go to the weekly just to see if there's anything we are missing. I'm going to take you a couple extra steps as well. And we'll probably go to some weird time frames you've never used before here in a second. All right, so notice that we have this inside and down right here, right where we stopped. This was another big reason on the broad market analysis. I felt a little bit of caution. So here, what I want to do is that I want to create my neutral just above this body in here, okay? So I'm going to come basically right above the high of last week. And for right now, this is going to be my neutral. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. So again, this right now, unless it changes, is going to be my neutral. It's 473 by 476. It's basically about $3, which is pretty awesome. So what I'm doing here and thinking is that we had this beautiful move from a weekly demand zone, and then we pushed up and we came right into an inside and down formation. Okay, that is the inside and down formation right here. Now you'll notice it's very, very wide because we have to use all of the candles that create the inside and down. So it's this guy, and this huge down. Okay, so the zone itself is basically this right here, that whole thing. Now you'll notice that my targets are inside the zone, all right, which is perfect because what I have learned is that sometimes, especially in bull markets, we don't stop at supply zones. I mean, we do, we reject, but they find some love at a lower demand zone and then they just chew through this supply. And sometimes they break through the supply very quickly. Same thing happens to demand zones as well. So I'm going to go up just above this because I understand it's an inside and down, and I really don't want to be going long into supply until it can show that it can create value above a level, right? And as long as we can stay above that level, that's great. So this is, in this case, going to be like that resistance, if you will. And you guys all know we're going to make that red, okay? And let's just thicken it up a little bit. And then, sorry, that's going to be green, but it is resistant. Sorry about that. I'm going to go right there. And then far as the move to the downside, all right, let's measure last week's candle. And we have the 23.6 here, okay? And we're just above that. I like that. And then at the bottom of this demand zone, I can't make this up, is the 38.2. So these are perfect. I actually really like these levels to the downside, okay? And I'm see the top of this candle. I'm actually going to move this down to be right in line with this, pretty close, and we're going to make this red. Now, the reason why I actually brought this, I think, up on the last video. The reason why I've always made these green and red because they're kind of confusing, right? This is resistance, but I understand if we can get up and over resistance, we want to go long. And if we break down below support, even though it's red, we're looking at going short into our support levels, okay? So these are perfect so far. I like this 473 and a 470.82. It's less than $3. It's not too wide. We should be able to get our target if we were to break down to there. To the upside, it's caution because we are in a big level of supply. And I like this 476.70 and a 478.50. This is less than $2. That's the way that I want to approach along this week because I'm cautious, right? And because of that, I want to be taking profits a little bit faster than normal. Okay. So normal might be that we're $3 to $4 on our targets, whereas this week we're actually about $2 or so. So look how all that comes together. Now the next thing is my highest target is 485. All right, now I have to go to a different chart, so just give me 1 second. I'm going to go over here to QQQ on a different chart and look at some stuff. I want to look at the ATR. So our ATR, it looks like it's a little bit higher time frame, sorry. All right, our weekly ATR right now is 19, and our monthly ATR is 35. And then let me get my weekly. My weekly is about 19. So this is only about 10 above. So I'm going to give you guys one more target, okay? And the way that I'm going to get that target is by using this inside and down formation. because the ATR is telling me that we could still potentially move a lot more. Notice I have a future trendy edge over here. So we're actually going to come up there, and you can see the future trendy edge is in line with the supply. We're going to come down just a little under that, and I'm going to give you a 489 target. It's actually going to give us $14 to the upside, which kind of falls close to that ATR. So just know that. So we're going to come in there at 489.99. And again, just so we understand that this is a supply zone up here, instead of making this whole area in here red, you've heard it right here that this is supply, this is inside and down, but this is our next supply zone. And I talked about this in the broad market analysis. I do believe we're headed to the higher supply zone. Timing is the variable, but you do understand where it is. And for right now, guys, this is the demand zone. So we have two opposing zones, and we have a blueprint to help us guide us to these levels by using the neutral strategy. So let's go ahead and write neutral in here, just like that. And these are going to be our numbers to the upside. Now let's figure out some more numbers to the downside, okay? Because if I go short here, I got target 1 and I got target 2, all right? But where's target 3? I'm not going to put it all the way down here at 454. I want it a little bit closer, so let's just do the Fibonacci's. And let's use, in this case, we're going to use the 618. Now, this is pretty far down, 460. But the thing that we do know is the Qs can really drop and go up very quickly. They are a leading indicator for me in the market, and kind of like the canary in the coal mine, if you will. So I like 460, but just know between 466 and 460, that's a big gap. So I would just be riding that trend down on a smaller time frame by using the clouds and so forth. Okay, but these are going to be our levels for the neutral strategy going into this week on the QQQ. All right, and it looks like this. And what's really neat about this, if you didn't notice, is that a lot of these levels match up on different time frames when you're using a really good process. Like this had, the Fibonacci's lined up, but it's also the 4-hour inside and up formation. Pretty neat. All right. And that's what we got there, just like that. And then over here, let's get back to this on the spies. So the spy is really interesting because we're so close to taking out the high. Um, I I hate to make this so wide, but I am. I'm going to go up to this high right here. And let's do this for now. I'm going to measure this week's candle. And I like this so far, but this is going to be a really wide zone for the SPY this week. We're going to take that out. 559 by, that's not actually too bad, but I want the 23.6 because we know that 23.6 is the support of last week's candle. Okay. Notice we have the 38. I'm going to move this one down just a tad to the 38.2. I'm going to bring this level up just a tad, and I'm going to bring this one up. Okay. Now, 562 to 565, we want to be able to make money, right? You don't want to have to sit there and wait $3 if you're just paying attention to this strat. If for some reason we get a pullback tonight, I think that's where it's really important to pay attention to the 4-hour cloud. Okay, and let's just kind of see where that 4-hour cloud is in this neutral box. Okay, let's change these colors really quick. Now, I can tell already this is way too close. Okay, so just give me a few minutes. We're going to come to the 4-hour. All right, so I like this. I really like this. The top of the 4-hour cloud still has me in the zone, you know, in the neutral zone. So this is more of an advanced approach, right? Remember, advanced way, we can still trade in the neutral. You just use your indicators. So, and we understand this. This is supposed to be support. That's why if it breaks down and we close under, then we're looking to go short into this demand zone. Okay. But if you want to get long off of indicators here, then you could be looking to get long towards the bottom of this box. Okay. Again, there's a demand zone here too. So we should be able to bounce in here. I'm going to tighten this up. I'm going to come up to that daily edge. That's right by this inside and up formation. Okay. I need to straighten this out. Sorry. 565.16. All right. And then if we go short, we're going to short into this edge, and then we're going to short into the top of the inside and up formation. Yeah. Well, I like that's fine. We're gonna keep that right there. How did my numbers get so crazy? Sorry, my lines, not my numbers. I'm gonna go right to watch the lines. I'm right above the space. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I like that. That's also in line with this EMA cloud. This needs to come down just a tad. That's perfect. I like this. And instead of coming to this wick right here, we're going to come up just a tad. Okay, right there to my line. And that's what we got. Ooh, and this is perfect. I can't make this up. Um, Actually, it's not perfect. Give me 1 second. Remember, why 559 is very, very important to us this week, right? And I said it was a playing, or sorry, it was a over under. So we're gonna have to go to 559. Sorry, it doesn't really make sense for me to say that 559 is a over under, and then for us to be trying to get short before it's even 559. Okay, so we're gonna have to put that on there. Here's the question. Okay, do we want, and I think that's what we want to do. We are going to take last week's high, just go barely above it, and this way we shorten up. Now we're more in line. There we go. And shorten that up a little bit. Unfortunately, over here, that just means that you need to be aware that the all-time high is, right above this. So this falls right in line with over here. We're cautious this week. You might not make a whole lot of money. We could come up, bounce here into Wednesday and come straight down, or we, get up and over this into Monday and Tuesday and start working our way to an all-time high before the rate decision, right? Again, no bias, just price action, but these are the levels that I have for right now. So I like this. It's like caution, understanding that we can ping pong between these levels, but also an advanced approach doesn't mean you have to only try to get long here. We can get long down here at the inside and up and towards these edges in here. And then you could ride, like, say we pull back to here. I would be looking for a bounce, and that bounce might lead us all the way into these upper levels here. So you're actually capitalizing on a move from, 559 and a half, 559, all the way back to 564. So big, big, big levels to understand. Same thing here. These inside and up formations on the Qs are in line with this as well. And then we have inside and up here. Big thing going forward into this week, I would be paying attention to your 4 hour to make sure we're staying above that 9 EMA, because we know that once we get above there, things look really good to the upside. But I like what I got here. I do have a lot more levels on here than normal. Don't let that confuse you. Just stay with the trend up and above and or below, and understand if we break down below that these are zones. My last note will be the bigger zones are the most important. These are smaller ones, and we could get relief rallies out of there. You can watch relief rally videos on my YouTube. But I would be concentrated on if we get a scare. I feel better about the lower zones than I do these zones. And the reason why is just because they're not that far away. And this is kind of where the origin of the move started last week. Okay. So that's what we got. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. We don't have supply above, guys, on the SPY. So if for some reason we do make all-time highs, and for some reason we get above these levels, remember I talked about these levels on the broad market analysis as well. That's where we pay attention to the quarterly charts. But kind of a note, just follow the cloud. If we're above here and you start feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're still riding this trend. Hey, as long as price stays above the cloud, I like it to the upside. All right. So that's what we have. And don't forget to hit that like. I really appreciate you and have an amazing Sunday. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.